If you wake up in the middle of the night to pee, even just once, I want you to understand something very important right away. It's probably not your bladder, it's probably not your prostate, and it's very likely not just aging. Most people assume that waking up at night to urinate, what we call Nocturia, is simply a bladder issue. They think, I have a weak bladder, or this must be my prostate, or this is just what happens when you get older, but that assumption is completely wrong. And the real danger here is not the nighttime urination itself. The real problem is what it does to your sleep. Because once your sleep is disrupted, everything else in your body starts to break down. When you wake up at night, your deep sleep is interrupted. And deep sleep is when your body repairs itself, balances hormones, burns fat, and resets your brain. When that process is disturbed, even once per night, it creates a cascade of serious metabolic problems. Poor sleep raises cortisol, your main stress hormone. Elevated cortisol makes it almost impossible to lose weight and encourages your body to store fat, especially visceral fat around the organs. Cortisol also raises blood sugar, which increases your risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Sleep disruption also raises blood pressure, stiffens your arteries, and keeps your body locked in a constant state of stress. It increases hunger hormones, so you crave snacks and sugar throughout the day. And it severely impacts your brain's ability to detoxify itself at night, which is why people who don't sleep well wake up with brain fog, poor focus, and memory problems. Your mood declines, anxiety and depression increase, cognitive performance drops, testosterone levels fall. And of course, you feel exhausted all day long. Now here's something interesting. There are cultures around the world where people live well into their 80s and 90s, and they sleep through the entire night without getting up to urinate even once. Meanwhile, in countries like the United States, 1 in 5 men and 1 in 4 women wake up at least once or twice every single night to pee. So aging is not the cause. There are very specific physiological reasons why this is happening, and once you understand them, the solution becomes very clear. The first and most important thing you need to know is that there is a hormone involved that almost no one talks about. It's called antidiuretic hormone or AD. Just think about what that name means. Antidiuretic literally means anti-urination. This hormone's job is to prevent excessive urine production, especially at night. During healthy sleep, ADH levels rise, signaling your kidneys to conserve water so you can sleep uninterrupted. But when this hormone is disrupted, your kidneys produce more urine, particularly while you're asleep. One of the biggest things that interferes with ADH is a mineral imbalance, specifically too much sodium and not enough potassium. This is extremely common. When you consume a lot of salt without adequate potassium, your body tries to protect itself by getting rid of the excess sodium. And the way it does that is by increasing urine production. Your kidneys pull water along with the sodium, filling your bladder at night. Potassium is critical for proper kidney function and fluid balance. Foods like avocados, leafy greens, and large salads are loaded with potassium and help counteract this problem. The next major factor is blood sugar. If your blood sugar is high, especially if you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, your body will attempt to eliminate excess glucose through the urine. Sugar pulls water with it, which dramatically increases urine volume. That's why frequent nighttime urination is one of the classic signs of blood sugar problems. Now here's where it gets interesting. If you have both blood sugar issues and a sodium potassium imbalance, you'll often notice fluid retention in your legs during the day. If you press your finger into your lower leg or ankle and it leaves a dent, that's called pitting edema. During the day, gravity pulls that fluid into your legs, but when you lie down at night and go horizontal, that fluid gets reabsorbed back into your bloodstream. And where does it go? Straight to the kidneys. That's why the moment you lie down, your bladder starts filling up. Now let's talk about nutrients. Two nutrients are absolutely critical for proper bladder and nervous system control: vitamin B1, thiamine, and magnesium. Vitamin B1 plays a major role in the autonomic nervous system, which controls involuntary functions like bladder signaling. If B1 is deficient, the bladder becomes overactive or poorly regulated, but B1 cannot function properly without magnesium. Magnesium acts like a relaxant for smooth muscle and nerves. Without enough magnesium, the bladder becomes hypersensitive, sending signals to urinate even when there isn't much urine present. This is especially important if you wake up at night and only a small amount of urine comes out. That's often a neurological signaling issue rather than a volume issue. Caffeine is another big disruptor. Caffeine is a diuretic. It increases urine production and interferes with antidiuretic hormone. This doesn't just apply to coffee. It also includes tea and even chocolate, which contains stimulants that have similar effects. That's why caffeine should be limited to small amounts in the morning only. Now let's talk about sugar and starch, especially at night. Sugar and refined carbohydrates spike blood glucose. Insulin then works to clear that glucose from the blood, and as it leaves, it drags water with it. If you consume sugar or starch in the evening, your blood sugar will rise while you sleep, forcing your kidneys to work overtime. This alone can cause multiple nighttime bathroom trips. And finally, excess protein late at night can also contribute by increasing nitrogen waste, which requires additional water to eliminate through the kidneys. All of these factors work together, disrupting antidiuretic hormone, overwhelming the kidneys, and filling the bladder while you're supposed to be sleeping. When you consume too much protein, especially later in the day, there's something important that happens inside your body that most people never hear about. One of the main byproducts of protein metabolism is urea. Urea is a nitrogen-based waste product, and your body must get rid of it to protect your kidneys and bloodstream. The only way it can do that is through the urine. So if you're eating a very large protein, heavy dinner, what happens is simple. Your kidneys are forced to produce more urine to flush out that excess urea. That alone can be enough to wake you up in the middle of the night with a strong urge to pee. This is why I often recommend that people consume most of their protein earlier in the day, ideally at lunch or as their first meal. Then, if nighttime urination or poor sleep is an issue, keep dinner lighter on protein. You don't need zero protein at night, you just don't want a massive amount. Now, as significant as protein is, it is not the biggest trigger for disrupting nighttime urination. The biggest trigger by far is alcohol. If you want a guaranteed way to wake up multiple times at night to pee, just drink alcohol before bed. Alcohol directly suppresses antidiuretic hormone, the hormone that tells your kidneys to hold onto fluid while you sleep. When ADH drops, urine production skyrockets. That's why people often notice that even a single drink in the evening causes frequent nighttime bathroom trips. Alcohol is one of the strongest diuretics there is, and its effect can last for hours into the night. Now, let's talk about fluid timing, because this is another massive mistake people make. The worst possible time to drink fluids is late at night. Ideally, you should avoid drinking any significant amount of fluids within 3 hours of bedtime. Many people say, "But I get really thirsty at night." I used to experience the same thing. But this thirst is often misunderstood. It's usually not dehydration, it's a survival mechanism. Your body is trying to make sure you have enough fluid stored because you're about to go 8 to 12 hours without drinking. What makes this worse is snacking at night, especially on carbohydrates, starches, or salty foods. When you snack, especially on chips, crackers, sweets, or processed foods, two things happen. First, your blood sugar rises, which causes insulin to spike. Second, insulin pushes potassium out of your cells, worsening a potassium deficiency. This combination makes you extremely thirsty, so you drink more fluid. Now you've created the perfect storm: high blood sugar, low potassium, suppressed antidiuretic hormone, and excess fluid, all of which guarantee that you'll be up all night urinating. It's not just what you drink, it's what you eat. To put things into perspective, your kidneys filter about 170 liters of fluid every single day, yet they only excrete about 1.5 to 2 liters as urine. That tells you how precise and regulated this system normally is. When it's not working properly, there's a reason. So now, let's talk about how to fix this problem. First, completely avoid alcohol at night. This one change alone can dramatically reduce nighttime urination for many people. Second, stop drinking fluids at least 3 hours before bed. Get most of your hydration earlier in the day and up until dinner time. Third, eliminate nighttime snacking. Out of all the habits people have, this is one of the worst. Nighttime snacking drives insulin resistance, raises blood sugar, depletes potassium, and pulls water into the urine. If you wake up even once a night, snacking is something you absolutely need to stop. Fourth, reduce sugar and refined carbohydrates, especially in the evening. Remember this principle: water follows sugar. The more sugar in your blood, the more water your body has to use to flush it out. Fifth, pay attention to your sodium to potassium balance. Most people consume far too much sodium and not nearly enough potassium. When potassium is low, your kidneys stop responding properly to antidiuretic hormone. Increase potassium-rich foods like avocados, leafy greens, and salads, or consider a high potassium electrolyte, but take it earlier in the day, not at night. Sixth, limit caffeine. Caffeine is a diuretic, and many people drink it all day without realizing how much fluid it forces out of the body. Keep caffeine minimal and restricted to the morning only. Seventh, avoid large protein, heavy dinners. Spread your protein intake earlier in the day, and keep dinner lighter if nighttime urination is an issue. Now, if you experience the situation where you feel a strong urge to urinate at night, but only a small amount comes out, that's usually neurological, not a volume problem. In that case, think vitamin B1 and magnesium. Vitamin B1 plays a critical role in the nervous system that controls bladder signaling. Magnesium helps relax smooth muscle and calm nerve activity. Together, they are essential for proper bladder control. Many people need therapeutic doses, not just minimal amounts. Adding magnesium glycinate, increasing potassium, and ensuring adequate B1 can make a dramatic difference in these cases. When you apply these principles consistently, the body can restore proper antidiuretic hormone function, normalize kidney signaling, and allow you to sleep through the night without interruption. And better sleep changes everything: your metabolism, your mood, your energy, your weight, your blood sugar, and your overall health. If this information helped you, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future videos like this. And please share this with someone you know who wakes up at night to pee. They may think it's normal, but now you know it's not.